Hi guys, welcome to Trap Talk Tuesday. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so y'all can know when I drop a video. Welcome to Trap Talk Tuesday. Trap Talk Tuesday is a forum that we talk about everything, baby. Love, sex, money, business, relationships. Get yourself out of relationships. You never had no business over the relationships. Baby, we talk about it all at the trap. We are on part 2 of my life story. So if you didn't watch the first video, go back and watch it. We have made it to the part where I quit my job at Burger King. My mom lost her job at the group home. We're living in this apartment. It's crazy. So my mom loses her job at the group home. I quit my job at Burger King. Remind y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm giving myself check marks in the back of my head. Like, that's not right. So of course, my mom loses her apartment after she loses her job. We then move back to my hometown, to my aunt's two-bedroom apartment. Me, my brother, my sister, my mom, my aunt's son, my aunt. And I don't know when, like I don't have specifics. I wish I could. I think just for like survival purposes, I just blocked a lot of stuff out. So for me, this is what I remember. I don't remember my mom like staying for a long period of time after we moved into my aunt's house. So I remember her like coming and us putting, remember I told you on the closet, us putting our stuff in that closet, us sleeping on the couch, but I don't remember my mom staying for a long period of time. She chose to stay with the person, and she left us with my aunt, and she moved to another like an hour away with him for for a long time, like for a very long time. Now at this point, this is like the hardest part of my entire story that I ever had to tell, because my aunt had a love seat and a sofa. Me and my siblings would sleep two to one sofa. One would sleep on the other sofa. You don't want to sleep on the love seat because it's uncomfortable, but you also don't want to sleep on the couch because you got to share it with another person. Because it's a two-bedroom. My cousin has a room. My aunt has a room, and like you gotta get fit in where you get in where you fit in. I don't remember the food situation. I don't think that food was a big deal to me. That's probably why I don't like remember being hungry or nothing like that. But I don't remember the food situation. I don't remember like food stamps. I don't remember none of that stuff. And I do remember that she didn't call like that. Like she didn't call me. I don't remember talking to her on the phone. Maybe my sister, my brother do, but I don't remember or recall talking to her on the phone. I don't remember. I don't remember. I do remember like my aunt didn't have a washer and dryer, so she was sending like $15. My y'all, we washing our clothes like once every month. So y'all already know how many clothes we have. Plus, out of the money that she was sending, we would have to get washing powder. And then we still would have to wash all of our clothes together in order to have clean clothes. One thing that I do remember about the apartment is that it would have a lot of stuff just like everywhere. And I think that's why now in my life I hate clutter. I can't take it. I can't take it. But um I do distinctly remember her calling one day, and she was crying. You can tell she was crying. And at this time I'm like 15, 16 years old. I'm like, what the heck you crying for? I think I was 16. She was like, y'all know I love y'all, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, all right. And she hung up the phone. That's it. The weirdest interaction I ever had with a person. I don't know what he had been telling her, what he had been saying. I don't know. I do not know. But she stayed over there for a while. And in this time, I was 16. And me and my cousins, we used to go out because my aunt was strict, but she wasn't strict like that. And we went to the next town over, Belgrade, Florida, and we went to like outside of this club. The club was called listen, this is how you say it. It's called Bonaventure. That's the name of the club. They used to do teen nights out there. And we went to teen night. I was sitting in the backseat of a friend's car, and this guy stuck his head in the back seat, and he was like, oh my God, who is that? And It was my kid's dad. That's how I met him. And we exchanged phone numbers. We started hanging out. And I remember one night he had came to see me. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And we were sitting outside, and my aunt knocked on the door, and she was like, "Come in the house. You're gonna end up pregnant." This was right before hurricane season. And hurricane season blew around, y'all. I was 17. We were without power and water for like a week. What did I have? A baby. I was pregnant. I was pregnant with my first child. My mom had to take me to the pediatrician, and they took a urine test because I had like a yeast infection. And that's the only time I get yeast infection is when I'm pregnant. I've only had 3 in my life, and all 3 resulted in me being pregnant. Okay. But I'll never forget Miss Mary, the lady, the medical assistant was like, "You pregnant?" And she was like, "You gonna take blood?" "Yes, please. Please take my blood." Because I was in shock and disbelief. And I think the only person my mom really told was like my aunt. But fast back up, my mom is there because it's a hurricane, and I think her and the dude got into it. So during the hurricane, we went and we slept at my aunt's house because my aunt had an actual house, and we all just went there because it just made more sense for us to go there than us to pile up in my aunt's apartment. I don't think my other aunt left the apartment. I think she might have stayed, but we went to with my mom to my other aunt's house, who actually is like my favorite aunt. And I think she only told my aunt that I was pregnant. And she wasn't like mad. She wasn't mad. She wasn't mad. I don't recall her being upset. I don't even really recall. Like after that lady told me I was pregnant, I really don't even know what happened. I know that I had to call my child's father and tell him, like, my boyfriend at the time, I'm pregnant. And I don't even remember what he said. I do not remember what he said. I I do know that at the time he was older than me. He worked as a correction officer, and he had his own apartment. I was like 6 months pregnant at the time. I was going to school still. I was still going to school. I was 16 going on 17 because I had my son at 17, then I turned 18. Clarification. I was still going to school, and I remember one day he was like, "You just need to move in here. It just makes more sense. I have to pick up, take to the doctor, like da da this, da da that." And I remember calling my mama and being like, "I want to move in with him," and she said no. And in that instant, check mark. How you gonna tell me what to do when you can't tell yourself what to do? I remember just saying, "Well, I don't really care what you say. I'm gonna do it anyways," and I moved. And she didn't like try to come get me. She didn't like try to she didn't no, she didn't even battle it. Now what I do remember, because I had my son at 17 and then I turned 18 in that December. I do remember, obviously I'm underage. So that means that I go on her food stamp case. Me and my baby, we get Medicaid, we get food stamps under her. I do remember knowing what I know now. I didn't know back then, and I didn't have like a food stamp guru to tell me like that ain't right. I remember her getting food stamps for me and my son, but she only gave me $100 a month. I know for a fact you was getting like $300-400 a month for us. She was only giving me $100 a month to spend in grocery after adding me and my child to her food stamp plan. If it's a lie, you can ask my kid's dad. He will tell you it's not a lie. And the closer I got to 18, he started saying, like, you need to open up your own case. Like, I think I said on her case like a month after I turned 18. You need to open up your own case because you should be getting more money than you probably can get more money with your own food stamps than she's giving you. And he was right. I opened up my own food stamp case. I was able to get like $400 a month in food stamps, full Medicaid, daycare for my baby because I was still in school, and they had a program for moms that were in school. And not to mention, when I had my son in May, in June, I started working at Boys and Girls Club. I got a job immediately because I had a baby. Now, the next 8 years of my life after I had my son, well, the first 2 years my son was alive, it wasn't bad. The last 6 years, so was, no. I'm trying not to cry. When I had my son, I went through a very bad time. I was emotionally and verbally abused, like to no end. I thought I was lower than the rent on a burning building, baby. I did not think I was pretty. I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think that nobody wanted me. I didn't think that my mom wanted me. I didn't think that my family wanted me. I was told that my family was, ghetto and beneath certain people in his family. It was really, really bad. It was really, really bad. And I just remember, I just remember like I was so sad. I was so sad for so long. Like I was so very sad. But I had become attached and accustomed to this person. So it wasn't right, but it was what I was used to. And I just remember like being cheated on to no end. Like being cheated on to the point that it it was just a norm for me to go get an HIV test, go get an STD test at Planned Parenthood because it was bad. And being told that I was working at Boys and Girls Club. I left Boys and Girls Club and I started working at Circuit City. I had my first car. I was making like $500-$600 every 2 weeks, and being told that $500 ain't no help to me, and how that's gonna pay bills and how that's gonna help this, that, and the third. It just got really, really bad verbally, and then at the end, it got really bad physically. And I really recall I was pregnant with my last child. I really recall this is when I started back like going to church, reading my Bible and stuff like that. I just really, really, I remember this moment so vividly. Oh my God. I remember praying to God and saying, like, you're gonna have to take him or you're gonna have to take me. And while this is going on, they did a sweep of dirty correctional officers that work in the correctional facilities, and he happened to be one of the person that took contraband inside of the facility, and he ended up going to prison. And I prayed that prayer when he was still sitting in county. He sat in county for like a month while I was pregnant with my last child, and the day that I gave birth to my last child, he actually got sent to his facility. And I just remember waking up the next day and not feeling anything. And the conversation that we had was my y'all, I'm 21 with 3 kids. Okay. It was not a good situation. It was not something that I would ever like. I love my children, but I should not have been 21 years old with 3 kids. I should not have been 21 years old with 3 children. It shouldn't have happened. But I didn't have guidance or support, or I didn't have someone that I could depend on, or I didn't have anybody that I could fall back on. I only had myself. And a lot of times when you're in a bad situation, you don't tell people what's really going on. You just put on the front like everything is great, everything is amazing. And I'm gonna tell y'all about the goodness and the grace of God. I was pregnant with Dylan, and Dylan is my youngest child. I was pregnant with Dylan, and him and I went to Dave and Buster's, and he proposed to me. But I was like early on pregnant with Dylan, maybe like a month or two, and he proposed to me, and of course I said yes. And the day, so he proposes, I say yes, and then all this stuff started happening with them doing busts at the jail, finding out that they were taking contraband into the jail, finding out that he's gonna go to prison, finding out like all this stuff. I didn't understand what God was doing during this. So in order for him to get a lawyer, he has to get on a payment plan. I'm going somewhere with this, so just follow me. Normally I would be down to like put my name, my social. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And the lawyer looked at me and he smirked. I think his name was Dan Brown. He used to have an office right off of 715 Road in Belgrade. I can't. His name is Dan. I don't remember his last name. He looked at me and he smirked, but it wasn't like a smirk like she ain't worth sugar honey iced tea. It was more so a smirk to me like, good girl, don't tie yourself down to him. he ended up not paying the man all his money, whatever. So, um, the day that we were supposed to go to the courthouse and get married, it was like 2 days before his he had to turn himself in. Y'all, why I fake sick? I'm talking about fake sick, throwing up. I think I was really legitimately throwing up. I wasn't making myself throw up. I'm talking about I can't do this. I can't go out there. I'm too sick. Da 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 this, da da da. And every time he brought it up, I bring up something different. I just in the on the inside of my being, I just knew that's not who I was supposed. That's not what I was supposed to do. That's not what God had for me. And if I would have got myself into something, I probably still would have been in it. Like I knew for a fact I was not supposed to be with that person, but I was there out of being scared, being fearful, being worried. Like I was in that situation because I didn't know any other situation, and I didn't have a backup plan, and I didn't have nobody that I can go stay at their house and recover. Because when I did, I would just go back to him. So now, as we're moving forward doing these things, and we know that he's going to go to jail, I get my own apartment in my name only. I've always had my own place, but in my name only. Nobody else's name is on this because all the places that we had was on his name. And when he would get mad, he would be like, "You can get out of my house." So I get my own apartment with my name on it. The lights are in my name. The water is in my name. My car is paid for. I had a fully paid for cash. I did not have insurance because I just didn't have insurance. Well, I had insurance up until the point that he left, and then I didn't have insurance anymore. So all these things are happening. So fast forward to now he's in jail for introduction of contraband into a correctional facility. Like that was his charge. And I remember he was calling me from the county. And I had Dylan because he got shipped to his facility. And I remember this might have been like a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday because it wasn't the weekend. Because the next morning I got up, I got my children dressed, and I took them to school. Um, I just remember telling him how I was feeling, how, what was going on with me. And his response was so nasty. He didn't have no jail talk because, a nigga in jail gonna tell you what you want to hear to get what they want. And he just said, like, basically, you not the mother effer in jail. What the F you mean? What you got going on? Do you know what a F I am? Like, he went off on me. And y'all, I didn't say nothing. I didn't respond. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't curse. I didn't say anything back to him. I just said, okay. The next day, I packed up every single item that he had in my apartment. I had a 2-bedroom apartment, but it was just me and my kids, so it was fine. Mind y'all, I'll get to that. I packed up everything. I'm talking about everything: spoons, forks, plates, posters, anything that was reminiscent of him. I packed up. It was like I woke up the next day and I did not know who that was. So, like Keke Palmer say, sorry to this man. If I saw this man on the screen, I would not know who he was. I packed up every single thing that he had in my house and I put it in 3 blue bins. And I called his mom and I told her, you need to come get his stuff because I'm not living this life anymore. I did go see him twice while he was in prison. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not a driver. I drove myself with his grandmother from Belgrade, Florida to basically 30 minutes outside of Tallahassee, Florida to go see him. And then I drove myself and his grandmother and my children home. Twice. I drove myself once and then I went with his mom one time. I went to prison to see him twice. And let me go back a little bit. So when he went to jail, I was pregnant with my youngest daughter. And the last weekend that he was out, he his mom was having like a not a going away party, but just like a little celebration. He didn't show up. He was somewhere with another woman. That's a fact. He was with another woman. And I called his phone like over 100 times. He did not answer me not one time. He texted me, but he didn't answer me not one single time did he answer. So moving forward, fast forward to now, I'm like, come get your son stuff. I'm not doing this no more. I didn't even disconnect my phone. I just turned the ringer off and wouldn't answer. And when he would send me a letter, I would just return the sender, or I would open it and throw it in the trash, because God disconnected me from that situation so fast and put me in a place where I just had to work and be a mom. Now, this was in November. Yeah, it was before my birthday. And I just remember just being a mom. I started going out. I started, I just started having fun, living my life. I poured so much into being a mom. It was crazy. Now, Dylan is a newborn at this time. So now I'm getting ready to go back to work. She was born in October. I went back to work like December, January. So all of this happened like November. In January, I go back to work. It's hard. I have three small children. I work. I'm a single mom. I did it from November of 2010, and then I met my now current husband in July of 2011. So yeah. Um, when I separated from him, my mom did come stay with me for a period of time, but it was not to help me. It was to help her. It was not to help me. It was to help her. It was not because she saw what I was going through and she was like, oh, okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to help you with the kids. No, it was because she didn't have anywhere to stay and she needed somewhere to stay. So she came and stayed with me. And then she eventually moved into her own apartment, the same apartment building that I actually met my husband at. But I never got the emotional support that I needed. So what I started doing is I just started suppressing all of my feelings. A good feeling, any bad feeling that I had, because yeah, I left him, but I'm so emotionally and mentally scarred from this situation. I don't know how to heal from it. I don't know how to get the thoughts of somebody telling you nobody never gonna want you with them type of kids. Nobody gonna never want you built the way you look. Nobody not gonna never want you, dressing how you dress. Nobody not gonna never want you. Like it was bad. I'm gonna just tell y'all a quick little story of how bad it was. Me, my cousin, and my best friend of 30 plus years, we went out. They used to have this place, it was like a big plot of land called a loading ramp. And I had a car, so I picked up my cousin and I picked up my best friend. If y'all know y'all already know what cousin I'm talking about, and y'all already know my best friend. We went on the loading ramp, we parked, and my cousin, we were drinking, we were having a good time. I was not even old enough to be drinking, but I was whatever. So there is this guy that was he tried to like grab me to like get me to talk to him, and I said no. And he talked about my body so bad. He said I have no ass. He said, you look like he did the most. He literally made me feel so bad about myself. Like he in a public setting, like he did this in front of a group of men. And I remember calling him and telling him like, this guy's being very disrespectful to me, da da this, da da. And he came. And he pulled the guy to the side, and the guy told him, they chopped it up or whatever. And he told me that if I would have never been, you don't have no business being up there. And if you weren't up there, he wouldn't have nothing to talk about you for. Because only hoes hang up there. He befriended the guy that disrespected me and reprimanded me for just being there and existing. Like, it was so crazy to me. Like, I was just like, this is, I only had one child for him at the time. And even in that situation with the one child, so much happened. Like, he had other girls in the house. And I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I'm gonna tell y'all two stories that let y'all know how foolish I really was. He was a certified correctional officer in Florida. He told me that him and his cousin got drafted to go to another state that they are not certified in to work in a prison. How the hell you gonna go work at a prison? You ain't even certified in that state. Correctional certifications are not national. Like, I'm a nationally certified medical assistant. I can work in any state. It don't work like that in corrections. You have to be certified in the state that you work in. And I was like, oh, okay. That Saturday night, I get a text from this girl that says, do you know where your man is? And it was this girl that we had got into like a back and forth about him. And it was like 11:45. I started calling his phone. He wasn't answering. Calling his phone. He wasn't answering. Call. He's telling me I'm working doubles. I'm in New Orleans. What are you talking about? Y'all, this man really had me, but because I was young and naive, and I didn't know that 1+1 always make two, no matter who you asking. I just was like void of the self-confidence and the self-assurance that I needed. So if he told me the sky was blue, baby, it was blue. If he told me, the grass was purple, baby, it was purple. So that's one story. The second story is this girl that he was talking to had gotten pregnant. And I remember him telling me, I asked her, was there any chance of that being my baby? And she said no. Y'all know I was happy. I was actually happy that the girl said no. Not even putting together, and listen, I didn't even put this stuff together until years later. Not even putting together the fact that he possibly got another woman pregnant. I'm just happy that the baby not his. There's no possibility of the baby being his. So stuff like that is what I dealt with. But once I got out of it, I didn't know how to filter and foster the negative emotions that I had from it. I think I told y'all, like, I don't know if I told y'all, but I literally have been diagnosed with PTSD. I don't think I have it anymore, or I think it's just something that's going to be on my medical record because I was diagnosed with it. I literally had post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, I was diagnosed with that in 2024 because of all the traumatic things mentally that have happened to me that I just didn't deal with. And because I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a compass. I didn't have anybody to show me and tell me and teach me. And, I didn't have anybody to fight for me. And I think that made me be such a courageous fighter for my children. But now it's way different. I'm going to finish up this story because now we're getting to the part where I meet my boo and we're wrapping it up. So I'm going to tell some more stories about some stuff that happened with my mom, and y'all probably going to be like, what the hell? What the hell, Leontay? What the hell, Barry? Like, it's a lot. But thank you guys for watching. Bye.